Well, just, I'd like to apologize, I guess I didn't proof the agenda properly, so there's a call to order, the first item of business should be the adoption of the agenda, and I don't see that there, so with your indulgence, we could make that day one adoption of the agenda. This is a special meeting of the board, called for the purpose of, concluding our business that we didn't get through at our last meeting, plus there's one other item, so, as you can see, that's what the agenda is here. And so I would like to take a motion to adopt the agenda. So, you have a second? Any discussion? Well, I have a query for you. Unexpectedly, we have phones in front of ourselves here, so if we can add an item to the agenda so that we can have an explanation as to what they're doing here, I would appreciate it. For sure. So if we could put that maybe under new business number 3, if that's all right. So under new business number 3, cell phones. Any other additions? Okay, so call the question on, sorry?
Adopt the agenda.
Okay. Okay. All those in favor? Okay. So that's unanimously
Yes.
carried. Thanks. So the first item of business is policy 375 R1
Okay, so that's me, I'll make a recommendation first, I'll make a motion first, and then we'll have a discussion, I guess. There is a slight change that was written here, and
Okay.
I can give you a written.
Okay,
It's just
perfect.
a slight change, so I would move that management establish a committee that includes both adult and student representatives from the LGBTQ community and representatives from our traditional partner groups to act in advisory capacity in the implementation of staff development, in-service professional development, and a complaint process related to this policy, and provide the board with a report at our April 26, 2011 public board meeting. I do actually, so I think as I stated before, when we were actually adopting this policy, I'm really proud that we're one of 12 school districts in BC to have a policy on LGBTQ. And I think there are a lot of instructions that the board is supposed to be doing that are embedded within that policy. And I just think it's time for us to start to implement some of those. And so that my recommendations are for that reason, so that we can actually get out and get this policy running, since it's one of the few we actually have. One of the policy committees successfully, a long list of policies that have been done, so. Yeah, so that kind of reason for it.
Anyone like to speak to it?
It goes to the date, April 26th, and I'm concerned with, durability of that, and is that a restriction that because it's, it's 2 weeks short notice. So my concern is, question for city management on the ability and the ability to collect the April 26th, and the format to the problem. Through you, Madam Chair, the first part of the motion, I haven't had any conversation with you at all about it, and certainly I would need to have some more clarification from Trustee McClellan in terms of exactly what the intent of parts of it are, and what it could look, what purpose and what it could look like. So that's the one that I'm most curious about being able to bring back for the April 26th, because I'm really have had no discussion with anyone about that.
Okay, well, maybe,
So
I
is
think
it-
we could stop you right there, Corinne, maybe you can flesh that out for us.
Well, it's right in the policy, basically the
Yeah.
motions to take in policy. And so for me, it's like any committee that we would form, only this one being slightly more special in that we have to get members of LGBTQ community. I know that there are members within our community that we know who might be able to help us with that. If the date is too tight, I'd be willing to change the date.
For me, if I could, and I think to be fair, um, if this passes, then the committee will be struck, that's the directly will do it, and it's my work to do, and I would do it. What I'm just concerned about is that my understanding, so really it doesn't mean a date. If you're asking for the committee to be struck by April 26th, the turnaround time for partner groups to send their representative, the names of their representatives and all that, that's tight. That's a couple weeks for them to go into the internal processes. It's not about how to design a committee, I can certainly design a committee. So, but if it says that, but the report that you were expecting on April 26th, I'm assuming is about the complaint process. I'm looking what's in that motion that we're being.
No, it's not all that, it's that we get a committee that's going to look at those sorts of things. I just want to report back to see how, for me, it was about how's it going, are you finding it, probably 5 people are willing to sit on this committee, or,
Okay, that's fine. That
it's
is-
not about fleshing out the whole thing, it's just about the
Yeah,
committee.
I can certainly start the process and report back to you on April 26th.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
And then in terms of the second part, because I had some warning that there was the budget, I had been thinking about it, and I could come back with a budget, with an approximate budget cost for this. For staff. Because as I mentioned to both the chair and yourself, we have a variety of issues that need staff development, and I had a plan around a variety of other issues as well. And so I think that I could certainly bring back an approximate cost of budget for the April 26th meeting, and I know how important that is, because the intent is to get it into the budget commission, so I can certainly do that.
Yeah, that's
Did you want to put it all, or?
No, it was a time frame that I'm concerned I have adopted it from 2 weeks since the last meeting, and I'm looking at time, there's a Easter break between now and then, it's something we need to adopt that we want to get back in the planning commission, and we've been able to review the job on that.
Well, question about, the plan in terms of the budget, would that be, is that in the merchandise? Then enroll with the budget process or separate?
Well, I don't see it as separate, I see it as a big picture. We need to include it in the budget, I don't think that it should just come to the table with a $200,000. Second question?
Well, my concern is having it separate, potentially having the budget process rolling along. It's some other things happening at the same time, so given that the budget process is in progress, it's something, the second part that I support only if it was part of that process, and then all the as opposed to being treated different.
No, I had a vision that we were looking for the advisory committee.
So like the current one, if I'm bringing back the report, that has some budgetary figures on it around this particular issue for the service, then once you've had a look at it, the board's going to review it, then we go into that process. Or not.
Okay, and I'd just like to say I'm happy to support this. I think it's really important that we move forward on doing something concrete with respect to the policy that we passed. I know that Sherry has already done some work and had speakers come in, and there's some work done at Professional Development Day, and there already is some work going on. But unlike provincial government, I'm not a fan of passing something and then mandating that staff find the money from somewhere else in the budget. I think that it is our responsibility if we're going to mandate something that includes some in-service, that it is truly in-service, it's not professional development, which is something different, that staff would choose to do on their own, but it is board-supported in-service, and that I felt that that should be struck. And from my perspective, if there is a way, I know Lenny in the past, you've mentioned that we've got our local capital, and there's an opportunity to look at how that would work together with our operating funds to find the money for things like this, so that we're not shorting any other parts of our budget. I would certainly be in favor of hearing, from you on the 26th about that. So yeah, so I'm fully for this.
Oh, just quickly, I'll say that we do a lot of talking about 21st century learning, and I think it's time to move our policy on sexual orientation, and gender identity.
So would anybody like Deputy to read back the motion?
I didn't get the revised one. Corinne's going to pass it through to me. Sure.
Read my writing.
That management establish a committee that includes both adult and student representatives from the LGBTQ community and representatives from our traditional partner groups to act in an advisory capacity in the implementation of staff development, in-service professional development, and a complaint process related to this policy, and provide the board with a report at our April 26th public board meeting, and that the board requests Superintendent Elwood develop a comprehensive in-service education plan pertaining to policy 3075R1 sexual orientation and gender identity for all staff in SD 71, including a budget for the board to consider at our April 26, 2011 public board meeting.
Okay. All those in favor? And that is unanimously carried. Okay, so now I'll ask the virtual gavel, because this next item is mine. So, I'll just, read the, bylaw for the first time in the comments. So that School District 71 approved the board procedural bylaw as amended for its first reading. Thank you. So my intent here is, that, the last 3 months, we've had, board meetings that have not been concluded by 9 o'clock, and the board, for whatever reasons, has not wished to go beyond 9 o'clock on this Monday meeting. So we've had to call a second board meeting to conclude our business. And this month, we have 2 trustees that are not able to join us to conclude our business. And so I thought it was very important that we find a way to have discussion about this. We only have about 6 board meetings left with the board, and if everybody wants to have 2 meetings a month, that's fine with me, but I thought I would like to propose an alternative. Our board meetings have gotten longer in the last year, and to be really honest with you, this is an interesting group to try to manage and allow for discussion to take place. We have a variety of different styles for people on the board. There are some of us that like to talk quite a lot and always have a lot to say. There are others that are concise and to the point. And about a year ago, I think we had some comments through the operational review process that perhaps we ought to think about having more fulsome discussions at public board meetings so people could understand better where we were coming from. So we've evolved a bit in the last year, and I think we have gotten longer in our discussions, and meetings have needed to go past 9 o'clock. So I saw this as a way for us to have a discussion right here, to see if we did want to just leave this on that at 10 o'clock for every meeting, or if we decided to have some other ideas. So that's my thank you for considering.
So I'm not supporting the motion tonight, and there's 2 reasons I'm not supporting the motion tonight. First and foremost, I think that extending the meeting by an hour is not necessarily guaranteed to having a leadership board meeting and more discussions happening on that. But secondly, most importantly to me, is the process and why we're here tonight, and the fact that 2 trustees are not present tonight. The board procedural bylaw is a bylaw of how the board operates. And when this is on the agenda, I was wondering, was possibly not going to make it tonight. The 2 trustees said they could not make it tonight. I don't think it's an urgent issue. I think that all trustees should have an input on how the board operates. And for us to have this on tonight's agenda, when 2 trustees specifically said they were not able to make it and have that conversation, I'm really concerned about it. So I'm not supporting the motion tonight. I want all trustees to have an input on this procedural bylaw, and therefore they need to be present and do that. So that's the reason one of the reasons I'm not supporting it tonight.
Yeah, the right make second, we accept the motion, not to be surprised, and also not to be supporting the motion. It's unfortunate nobody's not moderating here, because of course we did it this year. We used to have 2 meetings a month. First and third Tuesdays of the month for board meetings. The meeting will start at 7 o'clock. The public board will go at 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And there are times when we've gone in camera where you can sit and watch 2 hands on the clock, reach the top, close to it. So good decisions are made at that late hour. So if you want to turn around and start to play back to the old system where we had 2 meetings a month, that would probably be better suited than the later hours.
So I think we need more discussion about this topic, but I am glad that it's being raised because unlike Susan, I don't have the view that, okay, well, if you wanna have 2 board meetings a month, let's do that. I think if we're going to have 2 board meetings a month, I want to know that we're having 2 board meetings a month, as opposed to expecting in January, board meeting, and then it's completed, and it hasn't completed. February, board meeting, it's not completed, March again, and given the pattern, it's, we're gonna let this thing continue. So, given that, some of us have full-time day jobs, the unexpected evenings are difficult, and they're difficult for me to schedule. So I know I've got 2 a month, they'll be scheduled, but I find the unpredictability difficult for my life, and that means that, again, as election year is coming, and I think we want to encourage people from all walks of life, including busy walks of life, to be able to organize their affairs accordingly and to be able to predict when the meetings happen. The unpredictability, I think, is not something that can or should continue. Unfortunately, I don't have a solution right now, and I think we need to have a lot more discussion about this, because again, it's not just the amount of time. So I'm not supporting it because I think we need more discussion about it, not because I disagree with it, but I'm just not there yet. I think if all of us have the discussion and agree this is what we want to do and work together to make this meeting that we have coming in a month, then
Okay, I'll just chime in and say that I agree with a lot of what's going on. I really did like the days when we get a board meeting, I mean, board meeting. But I also must admit that I do appreciate the more wholesome discussions that we're having on a lot of topics. However, I also think that perhaps we are underutilizing our education committee, that some of the larger discussions could be very net, so that we can still have our public discussion about it, but that it's not taking up all the time for the meeting. So I think there are other solutions out there. I don't believe that I personally do have best for the at all. I'm not sure I'm getting one. So I'm not sure that I'm supporting this solution.
Yes, I will also close, and I can count well. So it is important to me that the public has an opportunity to ask questions at the end of the board meeting, and there's been a few times now where they haven't had the ability to do that because we've had the majority phone call. Just like to point out for trustee Payton's benefit that when a bylaw is changed, it can only be changed at a single board meeting by unanimous consent. So I hope that in the future, you consider making comments that are relevant to the motion and know that you can say your piece and still have the opportunity to vote against passing it in a single evening. That was my intent, Mr. President. If you all would have been in favor of this, I would have voted against passing it tonight so that Sheila and Tom would have had an opportunity to speak to that. So finally, I would like to say that sometimes it is difficult sitting in the role as a chair to figure out how to manage meetings. I must say that it has seldom been true that I've gotten advice from my six colleagues on the board how to do this better. I think that once, maybe 2 years ago, we had a discussion, or there was a discussion about changing the order of the agenda to put important matters at the top of the list, and we're not able to do that procedurally. So I would appreciate getting input from you and our two absent colleagues as to how we can get the meeting done and to fix it up. So, thank you for considering this.
Any call discussion? Alright, do you want it read back? Anybody want it read back? Okay, all in favor? All those opposed? And that is approved.
Thank you. Alrighty, we've got, oh yeah, blackberries. So, I'm not sure who to direct this to, so we'll direct it to Sherry, and Sherry can fix it.
Madam Chair, I'll apologize for the zealousness and the well-meaning zealousness of some of our staff. I actually had expected to have an opportunity to talk to you at the superintendent liaison meeting next Tuesday about this. Just so you know, the blackberries are in front of you in the hope that some people might consider using them and being in service to them as the trustees. We've actually renegotiated across the district our BlackBerry and our telephone contract with a service provider who came well under what we have been spending historically, well under what we had expected, but we have historically been spending. We had a need to upgrade for a variety of reasons. One, through the operational review, we've gone paperless, as many of you know, in HR practices and in many of our school district practices. And when we went to look to support going paperless with some new technology or some enhancement of some of the technologies, like for example, I don't get into that today, because mine apparently does whatever it's supposed to do. I just gotta learn how to do it. This is a whole other adventure, but mine does it. But to be fair, some people who have BlackBerries are 6 and 7 years old, they don't. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. By the time we had renegotiated our contract, we got to a place where it was so economically feasible compared to where we signed on 5 years ago, where we're still paying 5 years ago prices, that we ended up with with the ability to provide trustees who would like them BlackBerries, which would then connect to a BlackBerry playbook, and I think the chair might be interested in that, so that as we continue to work in a paperless model, and share plans and whatever, trustees could have access to that kind of network through a BlackBerry. And it would be very timely and very efficient, and it provides service about how to use it. So if I had the chance, I didn't know if they had arrived in the district. Somebody was just very excited that this was in front of me. I would have talked with you on Tuesday at superintendent liaison meeting and say, we have these BlackBerries. We would like you, if you're certainly voluntary on the part, but if you would like to use them for district business, we can set them up so they can be used for district business as BlackBerries, and for your use, connected to a playbook when it comes so that we can do the kinds of things we've been asking you to do in your home computers, through Shaw or through wherever we have some problems, to access the SharePoint stuff that we've been asking you to access as we've done paperless. So that's what it was. And some people can refuse and say, well, I'm probably not interested, or I don't have enough time to read it, but we just thought, because they had come to us when we were in a place where we had some extras to distribute, it made sense that we would offer them to you. That's why we were coming here.
Well, thank you for that. It's good to know that you're thinking about us, but I do recall that we had a discussion in connection with the operational review at a finance committee meeting about considering having the board use some sort of, whatever you call it, it must be the BlackBerry equivalent of one of
It is, it's called BlackBerry Playbook, and we're actually piloting it a little bit, so we've got, so part of how we managed to negotiate a deal that was so reasonable is that we've offered to be a corporate pilot. And then the other part of it was in play, we did some surveys around through BCSTA, and many other districts do provide their trustees with either a cell phone or a BlackBerry, in order for them to stay on top of district business. That's part of what we've been doing. We just got to a place where by the time we had distributed everything, when we realized that there were some BlackBerries, for example, like mine, that didn't need to be replaced, we got to a place where we had a conversation that we might be able to offer it to you if you so chose to use it, so that you could, instead of using your own personal technology at home, you could use the technology that we're all using and to move into this 21st century paperless time. And as you experience as trustees,
more and more, the documents, the materials that I provide you with, that she will provide you with, go to SharePoint, and, which is a secure site for trustees, that we've been asking you to access your materials from them.
So my only concern, I think, this is from a board perspective, I think, is that, I recall that sometime maybe last year, a motion came forward to request that the board consider, accessing, technology through our travel budget. So we didn't use the whole travel budget, and my recollection is that the board actually rejected that. And so I think, I don't know what it's here, what other trustees have to say, but I think that before we accept this, that we ought to have a deliberate conversation about this, especially in light of the fact that we have rejected this.
And can I just clarify that for you are thinking about, it was my thinking about that, this is my decision to offer this to you, was that I was very conscious of that it was, and we made that decision about accessing this budget to do that. And I understood that part of it was the cost of that item. Understand that this is a flat rate bulk package that we accessed, that these Blackberries would be available, period. So we didn't, so they weren't, so, the cost is part of a flat rate cost that comes out of the district's operating budget and exists whether or not you use them, you choose to use them or not. And that's why I thought that this might be, that in light of what you had voted for and the conversation that was around that because this was a flat rate bulk purchase and they were available to you, I thought you could offer you that opportunity. And it didn't in any way need to be disrespectful to that decision. I thought actually it mediated that decision because it was a flat rate piece of equipment that we now have accessible to you, that would help you with your work, help us with your work, help you with your work. And selfishly from our perspective, would allow us to continue to bring more paperless as we engage you in the work that you do. So please don't take it as a slight to that.
No, and I don't take it that, it's just that the board has made a deliberate decision in the past, and so I think that we ought to have a deliberate conversation. That's my advice to the board, is that we go ahead and have a deliberate conversation and decide whether we want to go ahead with this. So, want to leave it at for now, or?
And I'll
wanna-
leave
Yeah, I think so. So we'll look for an opportunity soon, and maybe my advice would be just to leave the phones here for now. I'll continue to use my own technology that I've got similar, so.
I have been challenged, I remember, so.
If I can learn them. Okey dokey, we'll move on to correspondence. The first item is, letter from Fran Prince, chairperson of the Aboriginal Education Council. Any questions or comments? Well, as the liaison trustee that sits on the AAC, I think I would like to speak in favor of honoring their request that we honor our commitments under the enhancement agreement, which is outlined here in the letter. And as we are undergoing a facilities review process now, and we've engaged a consultant to do that work, I think it would make sense to me if our superintendent would engage the agency perhaps in a discussion about what this really should look like and how that would work. Yes?
I motion to approve the agency management. We put that together.
Someone like to second that? Maybe you want to do it.
No, I think it's self-explanatory, and we feel very well that that's what we've done, and it's something that we should have had a conversation with, self-explanatory.
Okay, all those in favor? And that is unanimously carried. A letter here from Barry O'Neill, president of PD. Acknowledge. Anyone like to speak to this? Okay, all those in favor? And that is unanimously carried. Thank you. This will move to questions and inquiries, probably for no more than 15 minutes. I know our board meetings typically go to 9 o'clock, but I don't think we'll entertain questions and inquiries for more than that.
you knew that two trustees weren't going to be here, and you were gonna vote this motion down so it could be part of the conversation, why was this added to the agenda?
My thinking was that we have very few meetings left in the term of this particular board, and I would like to be as efficient as possible.
But if you were gonna vote it down, so that the others could be involved, it's obviously gonna go to another meeting, so
Yeah.
why wouldn't it just be there and why have it on there?
It's
So
a,
you're trying to cut down on the time of board meetings and you just throw that on that frivolous thing when there's two out here and you knew they weren't gonna be here and we're gonna vote against it anyway.
is it a comment or a question?
Question.
The democratic process is that when there's a bylaw that requires, reading, 3 times, the idea is that it's done over 2 meetings at least in order to ensure that adjustments can be made to the bylaw. The body that's accepting the bylaw, can receive input from the public and to afford everyone an opportunity to speak to it. So, that is the case with all procedural bylaws that are passed, with the exception of budget bylaws, school acts, that is actually that can be passed in one meeting, and that's usually passed the budget bylaw in one meeting. Any other bylaws require 2 meetings unless, it is unanimously consented to that it be passed in one meeting. My practice in the past has been to allow for 2 meetings. My personal practice has been, as a trustee, to allow for 2 meetings for these things to be granted. So my thinking was that we bring the item forward this evening, and then if everyone was okay with it, we could have a second reading or defeat it, at the. and then
She said you were gonna defeat it, so Tom and Sheila could be part of the conversation. I've been to many meetings where 3 readings have been done in one meeting in the hopes that it is unanimous. I'm just curious why that was done.
I think if you go and check back to your records, you'll find the next one. Anyone else like to ask a question? Okay, we take a motion for adjournment. Second, all in favor? That was White, Barr, McClellan, and Goldberg in favor, opposed? Oh, Janice, you up, your hand